everyone. Welcome back to Strange Mind 6. I'm your host, Ruby, and today we're going to be getting into 60 Timeless Zen Stories by Aki Yama. But before we begin, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and without further ado, grab a snack, grab a drink, or sit back and relax. And let's get into this. The Forest Temple. In the heart of a dense forest, there stood an ancient Buddhist temple run by a wise monk named Lao Chen. The temple was renowned throughout the region for its peace and tranquility. One day, a group of curious travelers ventured into the forest and reached the temple. Captivated by its aura of serenity, the travelers hailed from different parts of the world and belonged to various cultures and religions. They wanted to know the secret behind the temple's peace. They asked Lao Chen how it was possible for people with such diverse beliefs to coexist peacefully within the temple. Lao Chen smiled and led the travelers to a wide garden filled with colorful flowers. "Look at these flowers," he said. "Each flower has a unique color, shape, and fragrance. Yet, despite their differences, they bloom together in the same soil. So it is with different religions and beliefs. Each has its beauty and uniqueness, but all can peacefully coexist in our minds and hearts." The travelers were struck by Lao Chen's words and asked how they could apply this wisdom in their daily lives, even in situations of conflict. Lao Chen guided them to a small pond in the woods. "Look at the water," he said. "Water is formless, yet it can adapt to any container. If we want to resolve conflicts, we must be like water, flexible and adaptable, so that we can blend harmoniously even in the most challenging situations." The story underscores the importance of embracing diversity and finding harmony among different beliefs and cultures. The analog of the flowers in the garden illustrates that. Like diverse flowers coexisting peacefully, people from various religions and backgrounds can live harmoniously together. 12. The Wisdom of Elements. Once upon a time, there was a Zen monastery nestled on a green hill surrounded by ancient trees and framed by a clear blue sky. In this monastery lived 3 Zen monks: Master Wu, the wise teacher of the monastery; Miko, the diligent yet somewhat naive disciple; and Kira, an eccentric elderly monk known for his peculiar ways. One day, a mysterious traveler arrived at the monastery. He was an old man with bright eyes and an enigmatic smile on his face. He approached the three monks and said, "I have a riddle for you. If you can solve it, I will reveal to you an ancient secret." The traveler looked at Master Wu and asked, "What is the essence of wisdom?" Master Wu pondered deeply and replied, "The essence of wisdom is like water that flows endlessly, always adapting to its path." The traveler smiled but shook his head. Then he turned to Miko and said, "And you, young apprentice, what is the essence of wisdom?" Miko, who was a bit nervous, answered quickly, "The essence of wisdom is like a blazing fire that illuminates even the deepest darkness." Again, the traveler smiled but shook his head. Finally, he turned to Kira and asked, "And you, old monk, what is the essence of wisdom?" Kira, with his quirky smile, said, "The essence of wisdom is like the gentle wind that caresses the face, imperceptible but always present." The traveler nodded in approval. "Each of your answers is partially correct," he said. "The essence of wisdom is like water, fire, and wind, together, creating harmony and balance in the universe. You have shown your wisdom through your diverse perspectives." The three monks looked at each other, surprised and enlightened by the traveler's response. They understood that wisdom couldn't be confined to a single answer, but emerged from the tapestry of different experiences and perspectives. The story tells us wisdom is not confined to a single viewpoint, but emerges from the amalgamation of diverse experiences and perspectives, embracing different outlooks and understanding the complexity of life's nuisances led to a deeper understanding of truth, illustrating the importance of diversity in the pursuit of wisdom. "13. The Leaky Bucket." Once upon a time, there lived a young Zen monk named Raiku in a small monastery at the foot of a majestic mountain. The monastery was renowned for its wisdom and tranquility, drawing people from all over the world in search of enlightenment. One day, while Raiku was fetching water from the monastery well, he tripped and fell, slipping and spilling the bucket of water. An elderly monk named Sensei witnessed the incident and said to Raiku, "Now you must carry the bucket of water from the river back to the monastery to replace what you have wasted." Raiku nodded and set off to the river with the empty bucket. When he arrived, he bent to collect the water, but the bucket had a small hole at the top a small hole at the bottom. Raigu managed to fill it, but by the time he returned to the monastery, the bucket was nearly empty again. Despite his efforts, Raiku couldn't bring enough water back to the monastery. Feeling frustrated, he turned to Sensei. "I tried to bring the water, but the bucket is leaking. I can't fulfill the task." Sensei smiled and said, "Go back to the river and observe the bucket carefully as you fill it with water." Raiku followed Sensei's advice and returned to the river. As he filled the bucket, he observed the hole at the bottom. Something surprising happened. He noticed flowers blooming along the path he walked. When he returned to the monastery, Sensei smiled again. "Raiku, did you notice the flowers along the way? The hole in the bucket allowed them to grow. Despite its flaw, the bucket brought beauty to the world. Do you understand its secret now?" Thanks to Sensei's teaching, Raiku grasped the profound lesson of the leaky bucket. Raiku learned to see the positive aspects of seemingly negative situations and find meaning even in imperfections. The story tells us, despite imperfections, we can bring beauty into the world. Life is filled with holes and flaws, but it is also through these imperfections that beauty and wisdom can emerge. It brings attention to the importance of finding value in what might initially seem flawed or incomplete. Through embracing imperfections, one can discover the inherent beauty in life and the world around us. (14) Capturing the ungraspable. In a quiet Zen village, there lived a young monk named Ryoma. One day, while strolling in the temple gardens, he encountered an elderly monk named Shota. Ryoma asked Shota to teach him a lesson about the nature of life through an enigma. Shota smiled wisely and said, "Listen carefully, Ryoma. Tell me, what can be easily captured but never held onto?" Reflecting on the question, Ryoma confidently replied, "The answer is water. We can capture it in our hands, but as soon as we try to hold onto it, it slips away through our fingers." Shota nodded in approval. "Correct, Ryoma. Water is a perfect example of what we can capture but cannot fully possess. However, there is another answer to this riddle, reflecting the transient nature of life." Curious, Ryoma asked, "What is the other answer, Shota?" Shota smiled again. "The other answer is the present moment, Ryoma. We can capture the present moment in our awareness, but it constantly escapes through the flow of time, symbolizing the ephemeral nature of our existence." Ryoma nodded, illuminated by the profound wisdom of the enigma. From that day on, he began to practice mindfulness of the present moment, learning to live in the here and now and to appreciate every instant. The story tells us, the lesson of this story is that life is like water slipping through our fingers, and the present moment escaping within the flow of time. We can capture moments of joy, love, and wisdom, but we cannot hold on to them or onto life, nor stop the passage of time. Therefore, the importance lies in being aware of the present moment, appreciating it, and fully living it. And we are going to end it here, my dear friends. Tune in next video to hear more of 60 Timeless Zen Stories. This has been Ruby, signing off.